Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. Let me know if you like it. I'm going to do some more stuff like this. If you are going through a breakup right now, go ahead and visit writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. Send your story, and I can give you my take on that. Otherwise, have a good one. Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today I got another breakup story for you. And I actually reviewed this breakup story on one of my live streams. If you want to check out one of my live streams, please subscribe. If you don't, all good. Let's get into it. Hello, Coach Mac. I've been pondering if I should share this story or not, but I think it's going to be an issue for other dudes soon. So let's drop it for the world to hear. I agree. Like I said, I've already reviewed this story in the live stream, but I thought I would do a separate video for this because I think it's going to be a big issue in the future. My ex and I have broken up over a year. We had been together for about 7 to 8 years. It was an overall good relationship. We lived together for most of those years. We were extremely close. We just got to a point where things got old, stale. We were down to intimacy once a week for about 2 to 3 years. So once a week's probably not that bad, for a lot of people. But it's probably right at the edge. You don't want to get worse than that, right? Some people are probably cringing and going, maybe I got once a month. There's a lot of people that are in long-term relationships where they just let go of intimacy. I've actually been in conversations with friends, and that subject comes up, and someone will just go quiet. And basically they're saying, we don't even do it at all anymore. Things I used to like about her were replaced with things that I couldn't stand. She always drank beer more than I liked, but wasn't an alcoholic by any means. She smoked cigarettes, but only 1 or 2 a day. She was rough and independent, but also loved me with all her heart. I could trust her. The major issue was she just had got to this point where she was always fighting with someone or battling with someone. She had good friends and was good socially, but if someone crossed her, it would be World War III. So you see, you have this individual that's a good girlfriend to him, but is she a good person to other people? And this is what's interesting, that people have these intricacies to them and their character. And what he's saying here is that basically they were together 7, 8 years, and she and him had a good relationship, but her outside issues, outside of loving him and him trusting her, were too much to bear. And by the way, your partner's problems become your problems. So if they're battling someone at work, or they're arguing with someone that's a neighbor, or they're always in a fight, they bring that shit home. And that's okay if it's not something that's part of who they are all the time. That would get old. And by the way, it will change you to be more like that in a lot of cases. Some people say, oh, no, that's not. If you live with that person, yes, it will. Then I'd have to hear about it, and it was just all negative. I knew for a couple years that I wanted to break up, but I didn't want to give up some things. I suppose I didn't want to hurt her. Translation, you didn't want to get hurt yourself. A lot of times, I didn't want to hurt her. You're fearful that you're going to hurt yourself too. If you're together for 7 or 8 years, it's not going to be a picnic. So on my birthday, we went out for dinner, and she told me the gift she was giving me was a breakup. That she knew I wanted it, but I was too much of a coward to do it. I was surprised, but also didn't fight it. I agreed. I'm no coward. So that's a strong word, but I was holding back. So he's basically saying, I agreed to it, but I don't accept that I'm a coward. Okay, go for you. She cried and had me pay for the expensive dinner she took me out for on your birthday. So she broke up with you and had you pay for dinner. I went home with her and thought, okay, this is it. Here's the thing. At that moment, it didn't sink in. Well, when you first break up, if it was surprising, it usually doesn't sink in for most people. People are looking for ways to manipulate the situation, or maybe get back together, or maybe in a week we'll be good. I knew she was still in love with me, and I knew part of her was testing me in that moment. She wanted me to talk her out of it. I wasn't going to do it. Well, good for you. If you're 7, 8 years in, for 2 to 3 years you've had issues, for 2 to 3 years you've had issues and you thought about breaking up, it's time. And by the way, someone breaks up with you and you try to talk them out of it, most of the time it doesn't work, but it kind of makes them feel good. So that month, we actually had to stay together in a hotel together. We couldn't just break up and move out. I won't explain this as it's a long story. But yes, we were broken up, but living together and still hooking up. She was cold to me, but would still have intimacy and hook up. Then the time came when she moved out to her own apartment. I kept the house because I owned it. There was some friction over that for months, and she wanted me to sell it and give her some money. So as she had a job but no real savings, I felt pity and told her eventually I would do that, but not now. Instead, I gave her some money to help her out with her rent most months, which was my pleasure to help. If it's your pleasure to help, good for you. You're a good person. Some people say, oh, I would never help her. It's up to the individual. And if you feel like that's something you were capable of doing and it was your pleasure to do it. But don't make a covert contract where she owes you for something later on. That's where it gets dicey. But I was still seeing her, and we would hook up and have some of the best intimacy we ever had. So there you go. You're giving her money to help her out with rent and whatnot, but you're also still hooking up. So maybe that might be your covert contract. If she took that away or started seeing someone else, would you be so generous? Good question. Then I'd go home and she'd become bitter. I was seeing other women right out the bat. I hit the ground running. She actually found this out multiple times and was pissed, but I talked my way out of it and continued to see her. I knew deep down she wanted to maybe get back together, which I had no intentions of doing. I was happy to still see her, hook up, and stay connected, but also have my freedom to date other women. Well, isn't that what a lot of guys would want? Then I ran into her in public setting with her friend. She called me over. I came over and talked, but felt awkward not knowing the friends she was with or what they thought of me based on our breakup. Then a group of women called me over to their table. I knew one of the women from the gym, so I said hello. I wasn't hooking up with any of these women, but my ex got hurt by this and basically cut me off from hooking up with her. And we had a moment where she confronted me on ever getting back together. I said no, it wouldn't work. I was being honest. Well, maybe this is the first time you're being honest with yourself. She cried but accepted. I honestly wanted to keep seeing her the way it was, but now she put her foot down. Well, basically, here's the thing. You had your cake and eat it too. It was ideal for you. You still got to see her and see other women. You talked your way out of it, and this is when the hammer got dropped. It wasn't going to last forever this way. I still thought eventually I could sway her my way, going out to eat with her once a week, but she turned the lovemaking spigot off. This went on for about 6 months. So to recap, the first 6 months of the breakup, we saw each other and hooked up. Then the next 6 months or so, we saw each other but didn't hook up, but we still know we were there for each other. Translation, you're hoping that you can start hooking up at some point, right? I was fine with that, but I did really miss her at times. I mean, really miss her. Well, if you were together for 7+ years, of course you do. But then I'd think I can't go back to that negativity. She's not changing who she is. Then about 3 weeks ago, I noticed her pulling away. She'd been posting a lot of bikini pics online. And of course, she looks better than ever as she got in much better shape than she was with me, which was an issue. Of course she got in better shape. That's what everyone does after the breakup if they have any self-respect, right? So I stopped by her house to pick up something, and she came to the door with it cracked a bit, like she had someone over. She had no bra on, and she seemed like she was in a good mood. Then she laughed. I'm in the middle of something. I wasn't sure if she was talking to a guy online or she had someone in the room, but I went home and it hurt me. Then I thought about all the times she caught me doing something with another woman. I had to laugh. Karma has no deadline. Great line. It's very true. I felt it. Then here's what happens. If you continue to see someone out of a breakup and you think that it'll continue that way, someone's going to meet someone eventually, someone's going to get cut off, and then someone gets left holding the bag hurt. Then the next week I asked her out, but still don't want her back as my girlfriend. I guess I just want to keep her as someone I can see when I want and not have to worry about her with someone else. Well, this is why your story is good to write, because you just basically told yourself what you're looking for. Damn, writing this makes it all so selfish. The story doesn't end here. I then popped by her house unannounced and heard her on the phone with another guy. I listened from outside the door for a good 5 minutes. It was enough to hurt me again. Again, I have no right, as she and I have broken up for a year, but it feels like now we're really done. She's done with me. I mean, I always felt like if I wanted, I could get her back. Now I don't want her back, but I selfishly want to still have her when I want her. At least you're being honest. And here's the nail in the coffin. I'm pretty sure she's doing OnlyFans or something similar. I thought about asking her, but then I thought, what's your real intentions? I got that from one of your videos. That is something I tell people to ask a lot. And I would ask you, what is your real intentions? I think my intentions is to embarrass her, to make her feel guilty. That's not fair. It isn't, because you're not with her anymore. She has a right to do OnlyFans. And if you confronted her on these 2 other guys that you witnessed outside her door, you'll make yourself look like a fool. I actually don't blame any woman for doing OnlyFans. It's a great way to make money, feel sexy, and have control over what you do and how far you go. But goddamn, my ex-girlfriend of 7 years plus, I refuse to dig any dirt to find out if it's true or not. I'm now cutting off all contact, as now I need to accept and bet on myself finding a better match. Again, something I learned from your videos. Well, yeah, I often tell people to bet on themselves. Any other thoughts on your end, Coach? It's time to go into full no contact for yourself. And I said this in the live stream when I unpacked this video before. Do not investigate. Do not ask any questions about, oh, were you with some other guy? Don't look on the social media. Don't try to find out if she's actually doing this online. You don't want to know anymore. The fact that you were together that long and your intuition says that this is most likely true, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Get as much distance from it as you can. You've been apart for a year. You said you have been dating this whole year and you hit the ground running. Bet on yourself. I hope that helps you. If you want to visit writemac.com and send in your story, go for it. If you want to book a live coaching session with myself, do it. Take care.